Welcome to Real Estate on the Rocks. I'm Brad Bybee,
I'm Troy Rogers.
and this is a forum where we get to kind of talk a little bit about our our two favorite things: real estate and whiskey. So
Not necessarily in that order either.
that's right.
So,
So today we are going to be touching on three topics. Number one is when is the right time to buy? The second one is, do I need 20% down to purchase a home? And lastly, third, how do I compete in a hot market with
Yeah.
multiple offers?
so that's a big one right now.
Yeah.
So,
But first things first, let's get into the whiskey that we have here. We have Wyoming whiskey, double cask um, from Wyoming. And I think this is kind of a little special, reminiscent of a few other
yeah,
whiskeys we like.
yeah, definitely reminds me. I was telling you earlier, it reminds me of a Blanton's actually a lot, but for a much better price.
Yeah.
So,
So this is
Smells very
actually in oak barrels for 5 years, and then they go through a like a through their sherry casks twice when they go through fermentation and blending. So
nice. All right, we're gonna go for it.
I think we should
All right.
give our little notes on this. Get a little
Very good.
apricot and some fig, maybe.
Yeah, it's sweet, definitely sweet, which I
Yeah.
love personally. That's why I think where I associate with the Blanton's the most. That
Yeah.
I like that sweet flavor to it. It's kind of lingers.
Hmm.
The flavor sticks around. It's fantastic. Really like that.
Yeah, it's kind of a little sticky. It's got some good, um, like cinnamon and kind of baked goods flavor to it. So
What's the proof on this? It's not harsh at all either, which
this
is
is 100 proof.
that is ridiculous.
For 100 proof,
Yeah,
that's
that's
real,
dangerous.
real smooth.
That is dangerous.
That takes me back to college.
Yeah. All right. Now, before we have too much of this, maybe
Yeah.
we should get
into it.
our questions here.
So number one, when's the right time to buy?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're probably gonna have pretty similar answers. You on the real estate side, me on the lending side. But my answer to clients and have this conversation all the time is really, if you're buying your home, your primary residence, you really yesterday was the right time to buy.
Mhm.
2 years ago, 5 years ago, whenever you can buy is the right time to buy. Especially, I mean, if your plans to be in it, most people stay in a home on average 7 years. So if you're in it 5 years, 7 years, historically homes appreciate 4%. So as long as you're, I mean, yeah, year to year you might have ebbs and flows, movement, but I mean, if you're in it long term or decently long term at all, it's like printing money.
Yeah.
you should own a home.
Yeah, and I mean we've been fortunate to see the market kind of kind of double year over year for
Right.
a lot of years in a row. I know I've been selling real estate for 11 years in Southern California, and now up here in Idaho, and there really isn't a best time to buy. It's what's right for you timing wise. So whether that's dealing with, maybe you have a baby on the way, or you're tired of renting and you just want to get into your first apartment or whatever, I look at those as like stepping stone
100%.
homes that you're going to hold on to for a few years, get some appreciation, build that equity, and then take that as a jumping off point
Yep.
and get into the next big thing. So
Yeah.
typically,
And the other one, I actually just had a conversation with a client yesterday. Is the market going to crash? Because that's what
Sure.
everybody's worried about on the timing, right? There's no signs it's going to crash. If anything, it's still going strong and maybe even stronger than it should. There's this stat that I keep going back to. There's only 1 million homes available in the entire country, and 42% of them are already pending. They're already in contract.
That is wild.
There's less than 600,000 homes on the market for sale in the entire country. So there's so many homes. There are so few homes available and so many people trying to buy. It's going to keep going up.
Sure. So kind of to piggyback on that, do you need 20% down to buy a home?
It's a good one. Yeah, no, you definitely don't. It's funny enough. It's funny. We came up with these questions 2 weeks ago. These topics we wanted to go over and things we wanted to cover. I've had all these conversations yesterday, I think, with clients. So I actually had a client ask me that exact question on the 20%. It's a very old school line of thinking on lending. I would even say it's not even your parents thinking, it's even probably your grandparents. It's really old kind of way that the industry worked. But really all 20% does is eliminate mortgage insurance.
Right.
You only need 3% on a conventional first-time buyer loan, 3.5% on an FHA, or if you're doing a first-time buyer assistance loan, I just closed a client, they put $1,000 in. So
That's wild.
yeah, you can get in for next to nothing, really, very very little.
Yeah, and if you're VA or
VA is 100% finance,
100%.
no down payment. Maybe you go negotiate some seller credits, get your closing costs covered too. Yeah, you definitely don't need 20%. I don't know how anybody even saves 20% for a home purchase right now.
yeah. Well, I mean, most of my clients over the last 5-6 years, everything was 10% down or
Yep.
less.
Yep.
Occasionally, I would get someone who's getting some gift funds from a relative or whatever, and they'd get an extra 5%, or very rarely would I have 20% down.
I think the only
as a
time I
purchase
see
price.
20% or more is somebody that's selling a home
Sure.
and they're rolling their equity over.
Yep.
And then even then, a lot of my clients aren't. They're rolling part of it over into the new home and using a chunk of that equity to consolidate, pay off debts, go invest it into
Yep.
some vehicle that's giving them more money than they'd be making sitting on. I mean, the property goes up 4%, but maybe you can put it into something that's making 6% right now.
Sure.
So,
Or you just pull that money out and keep it as a just in case
put a
reserve
pool in.
for. Yeah, okay. Or a pool.
I have a client doing that right now. So. But yeah, no, you definitely don't need that 20% though. There's a lot of good tools to work through that.
And maybe we can link a couple of those spots
100%.
on this video too.
100%.
So lastly, our third and final question is, how do you compete in a hot market with multiple offers?
Yeah, that's probably the hardest one.
So
right now.
this is kind of, we're both going to talk on this in pretty good depth. And really, it's about building that rapport with the other agent on the other side. And having a team, like having someone like Troy, who goes through and calls listing agents. You want to kind of have this plan of attack to where that listing agent is going to be hearing from your entire team.
Yep.
There's very few agents that do that or ask their lenders to do that. So that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
The way I really feel I get a lot of traction and get my offers accepted is by having conversations with listing agents. So as soon as that property comes on the market, we're making a phone call. When can we see it? Here's a little bit about my buyer. Typically they're getting a lot of phone calls too. So keep it brief, find out when you can see it, set up an appointment. And when you do get to that appointment, if the agent's there, you really want to make an impression on them. So finding out, if this is something that your client likes, then what does the seller's timeline look like? Do they have any requests for contingency periods or anything like that?
Yep.
How short do we need to make that? Do they need to rent back? Give them an opportunity to talk a little bit more. So.
Yep. No, that's huge. No, 100%. And communicating with the other side is so important.
Yep.
And the other thing too, a lot of people don't think about this. The agent you're working with, not only that aspect of it, what you're doing is super important, but how you're presenting yourself, your reputation, that's huge. People think that maybe they'll just take any offer. The agent representing you and how they're communicating with and working with that listing agent and that seller, and then their reputation in the market plays a huge role in getting your offer accepted and
Absolutely.
getting into there. So that's a really big one. And then you touched on the lending part of it, right? So having your whole team involved, everybody's reaching out, the lender's making a call. I'm making a call on those, calling that listing agent and selling the crap out of that buyer, how qualified they are, how great they are.
How does that conversation go? Is that more like, they have a debt to income ratio of this, or is it just kind of based off of what the listing agent's kind of asking you? And
yeah. So how do I put this delicately? Most agents know enough about the lending side to be dangerous.
Sure.
So I don't go into too much detail on that. First of all, for privacy reasons for the buyer, but second, I don't want to confuse the situation either. So no, really that call is kind of just hey, so-and-so agent, my client's got an offer on your home at XYZ address. I wanted to give you a call. I'm the lender on it. First of all, just wanted to show how on it our team is, their agent is. We're calling you promptly and going over it right away. And then just want to let you know they're a fantastic buyer. We've got everything 100% documented, the file fully put together. We've reviewed credit, we reviewed their income, we reviewed their funds. we're fully put together file. They're ready to rock and roll. I can close this thing in 2 weeks if you want. Oh, we're actually only doing a 30-day offer and I don't need to. Perfect. Well, if you change your mind, let me know. And
Sure.
then if they've got any questions, anything we can do to help the process, things like that. And it's pretty brief, kind of just hitting them like that and just really selling how they're the sweetest people. You're going to love them. You're going to love working with them. It's going to be smooth. And
Well, I think that kind of helps separate them from just being a bunch of numbers on paper.
Exactly.
And that agent's typically going to remember, oh, I spoke to the lender,
Yeah.
spoke to the buyer's agent, and got some more information on them and kind of what their timeline looks like. The other part of that is when you're making these calls and you're trying to talk to the listing agent, I come in and I like to say, I need to know what the seller is looking for timeline-wise and all of that. But I'm asking these questions because I want to be able to make a thoughtful and strong offer that's not going to be offensive and anything like that. I'm touching on their key points so that it makes me look more attractive, and maybe we don't have to go through multiple counteroffers.
Right.
I actually just closed one like 2 weeks ago that they took our offer because it was well written. We had listened to what they wanted as far as terms, and we moved forward quickly. We were
Beautiful.
Underwritten, ready to go.
Yep.
And it ended up working out really well. So.
Yeah, and that same, so underwritten, ready to go. That kind of touches on the next piece of it that I would say on the lending side. There's a pre-qualification, a pre-approval, and then there's an underwritten approval. There's kind of 3 levels of what we can be doing and sending our buyers out with.
So can you give us a little bit of what each one of those is?
Yeah, 100%. So a pre-qualification, that's not even worth the paper it's written on, in my opinion. That's the go online and put in sure, I make this, and yeah, my credit's great, and blah, blah, and then it spits out, perfect, you're pre-qualified, and go buy a house.
Yeah.
It means nothing. A pre-approval is what you see 90+% of the time, but we actually collect your documents. We're going to get your bank statements. We're going to get your pay stubs. We're going to run your credit. We're going to fully put that file together and document it out. And I, the loan officer, and my team are going to review it and say you're good to go and give you your pre-approval. The third step, and this is where we go above and beyond a lot of lenders, is we actually call it our fast track approval. We take that fully put together file, and then I go give it to an underwriter. So we're going to go get that fully underwritten. Everything's going to be signed off on, all the income, credit, funds, everything's signed off and approved. You got to go get in contract on a house. I've got to get an appraisal on that house, and you got to tell me who's doing your insurance. That's pretty much it. And then we're ready to close. So we can close those in 2 weeks or less a lot of the time.
So that really does make you look almost as good as cash.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
100%. So that's a huge tool right now. Probably the best thing that a lender could be doing to assist in trying to get those offers accepted. Because it is tough right now. They're back to seeing that multiple offers on everything and having to compete more again.
Yeah, and I mean, having that fast track approval where you are completely underwritten and ready to go, that could be that extra little push that you need to get over the hump and get that offer accepted. So.
Yeah, 100%. But
great.
Awesome, man.
Well, feel free to subscribe. All the information will be below in the description, and we hope you like this video. And feel free to leave a comment. And if you have any whiskeys or anything else you want to comment on or talk about, please, or would like to see us review,
let us know what to drink.
Yeah. Have a great one.
Cheers.